Welcome to Power Forward and Lead, the podcast dedicated to inspiring you to become the best leader you can be. With innovative leadership strategies, practical tips on personal and professional growth, and fresh perspectives on learning and development. With your host, Fatima Zaidi, we explore the stories and insights of extraordinary leaders, learning from their journey to help you on yours. So let's power forward, lead with confidence, and unlock your full potential. And if you find today's topic meaningful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Welcome to Power Forward and Lead with Fatima Zaidi. On our podcast, we discuss leadership, learning, and growth strategies. Today, we have an amazing guest, Guelda Redman, and she is the leader and owner of BC Women's Business Network Group. Guelda has always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and when she needed a networking group to grow her own business network and couldn't find one in her area, she created her own. She created the BC Women's Business Network out of necessity and soon realized that her passion is in facilitating a networking group for women in business that is all about building relationships, support, encouragement, and mutual learning. She wants women to have a safe and inclusive space where they can ask questions and share answers without intimidation.
Yeah.
I am so glad that you could join us today because since I started my entrepreneurial journey, I have been to many business networking groups, and not a single one comes close to BC Women's Business Network. And I don't necessarily attend the BC Women's Business Network because it's a women's only business network.
Right.
It just genuinely is. It's not just one of the best women's best business networking group I've been to. It is one of the best business networking group I've been to across the board.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's humbling. Wow.
So I would really like to talk about you today, and would you share with our audience, who is Guelda?
I've always been someone who's a servant leader at heart, I think. And so that was when starting up the group and figuring out that was my passion. That was part of it, because I love to serve, but I'm also a very strong personality. So I'm not like what you'd call a pushover or a doormat at all, but I do genuinely love to help people out that really want and need the help. And I've always been a pretty strong-willed person. Even as a kid, I was strong-willed. People never were surprised when I said I was going to do something and I did it. And so I have to say, I wouldn't not have ever thought that this is something I would have done, because I'm also quite an introvert. But it's funny how things happen, and especially when something happens out of necessity and then grows like this has grown. It's been amazing.
That's awesome. Can you actually share some example, because you're an introvert, and you said you're a strong-willed person, and you've managed to build this group, and you said you're a server at heart. Can you share an example from your childhood that led you to where you are today, or different signs that you saw growing up that you're like, oh, I can see that's why I kind of ended up where I am today?
Well, yeah, I mean, as a kid, I did the brownies and the guides, and was always kind of surrounded by a group of women. And in my family, my parents actually had 7 kids, but they had 3 boys, and they were all much older. And then there were 4 girls. So I've always been surrounded by women. I don't know if I could pinpoint one particular thing in my childhood. I always kind of felt like my mom was the traditional mom, didn't work, stayed home, made all the meals, did all the housework and stuff. And I never saw myself in that role. And even though I ended up doing that, it was never really who I was. I was always looking for something to do and always drawn to, things that I wanted girlfriends. I wanted a lot of girlfriends, right? But I'm an introvert, so it's very hard to meet people. So this has actually worked out really, really well for me.
That's interesting, because growing up, I steered absolutely clear of anything that was considered women's job.
Oh, yeah.
Half the time I refuse to even learn things, because if I don't know how to do it, people don't expect me to do it.
That's so true. Yeah, I think a lot of men use that
It's
strategy.
Ironically, I actually didn't recognize that strategy from men in a workplace setting. I remember, initially when I started doing my volunteering with nonprofits and things like that, I would always get stuck in secretarial roles. The reason being, the guys in the group would be like, oh, I'm just terrible at this. Yeah. And then they would go and intentionally put together really terribly written minutes, and I'm like, oh, fine, I'll do it. And I so bad at it. What good about you as the secretary?
Yeah.
It's called weaponized incompetence.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There's two words I recently learned: weaponized incompetence and malicious compliance.
Oh. I like that, yeah.
Malicious
That's
compliance
very
is when
true,
someone
yes.
sets a rule, you follow it to a T, to a point that the person who set the rule got annoyed by it and said, okay, you don't have to do that.
Oh, wow.
So I want to know a little bit more about BC Women's Business Network and what is so unique about it and different from other networking groups.
Well, the thing, I think that a lot of people, when they come to a networking group, there's a lot of intimidation because they feel like they really have to sell themselves. Like, if they don't go and get, referrals or a client or something at a meeting, they feel like they've failed. So it's very intimidating to a lot of women, and especially women who do side hustles or, their kids are grown and they're kind of want to get back into the workforce, but they don't want a job. They don't want to work for someone else. They want to do something for themselves. So it's very intimidating for a woman to kind of, go back into that and go into a room, especially a room that's filled with a bunch of men who are in suits and, really strutting it, and to feel like you measure up. And so the thing that's really different about our group is that we are all about building relationships first. And the reason for that is because as women, we are a lot more, we need that know, like, and trust way more than men do. We need to know the people that we're doing work with. We need to know the people that we're referring to our friends and family, and we need to know the people that are that maybe we want to collaborate with, and we know that they're, genuine, trustworthy, and all of that. And so this is where the building the relationships comes first. And the interesting thing that comes out of it is these women who come to the group, they've actually, it's not just a group, it's a community. They have a ton of friends now that they can also work with and purchase from and sell to and refer people to them, and they genuinely really like each other, right? And if they don't let me know about it. But we've got a very strong no negativity rule in our group, and I think that's one of the things that's made it so awesome, is that everybody feels safe because they know no one can put them down. Nobody can say, well, you're wrong saying that, because we don't do that. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody's safe to ask questions, or there's never any negativity like, oh, well, how do you not know that, or anything like that, because everybody's in their own journey. So when the women are coming, they feel enveloped in a community right from the get-go. They come in, they're feeling nervous because everybody does. Everybody, whether you're a lawyer or whatever the heck you do, you come to that meeting for the first time feeling a little bit anxious. And they come in and immediately they're enveloped into the group. People are talking to them, asking them how they're doing, what, about their life and everything else. So we talk about not just business. We talk, especially because it's women, right? We talk about our pets, our kids, our menopause symptoms, all of these different things. We also share our businesses, but it's about the building of that relationship and the rapport that's built. And then organically out of that, we have people that are collaborating, businesses that are collaborating, a lot of referrals, because we refer each other. You're top of mind. You come to the meetings, every month this year. You're top of mind, so you're the one that's going to be referred, and also the person that if I want to purchase something, or I want someone to build a website for me, or I want to take a workshop in leadership, those are the people that you're going to pick, because you know their integrity, you know their character, you know their work ethic, and you know what knowledge they have because they brought it to the meeting every month. So it's different. It's not just coming and handing out a card and making a coffee date. It's coming out, hugging, talking,
Love those.
drinking some tea or some wine, or eating, and then you're handing out your card when it's appropriate. It's not about being salesy. It's about this is how I could help you, or whatever. And so I think that is very much different, because people come in and the intimidation is gone right away, because we're not all speakers. We're not, right?
I really wish that more business owners understood that piece, right? And I don't want to say I wish more business owners necessarily came to this business networking group, because there are people who don't change and they're not a good fit for this group, right?
Yeah.
But in general, just the appropriate time to share a business card is so important. I may have shared this with you, but I had someone who tried to give me their business card at a celebration of life.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh
right?
my gosh.
But even in business networking groups, I've done trade shows, I've been to trade shows, and even when I had my own table, there are people in trade shows who walk around without any conversation, any communication, just leaving a table.
Yeah.
Leaving a card at a table.
Yeah.
And my finger just goes tap on the card
And
into the trash.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of times, sometimes I'll take a business card politely and then throw it away later if I really just was put off by the individual. But there have been times where people have been so bad pushing their business card that I actually had to say, no, thank you, I know how to find you.
Yeah.
And they continue to push their business and said, I'm not interested. I don't think I'm the right fit for your business, right?
Yeah.
And for me to say that directly, I feel like I should do it more often. Right?
Yeah, probably.
But for the most part, I love connecting people to people. I'm an extrovert. I get so much energy from being around people. I want to know more people. So for me, normally I will take business card even if I don't foresee myself doing business with them. So, but it really takes a lot to annoy me and say, you know what, just please keep it and don't try to give it to me again.
Yeah.
Right? So with the BC Women's Business Network, that's one great thing. People aren't just going around shoving their business cards down everyone's throat.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's timely and respectful. I would credit that to you. I think who you are attracts the right kind of people to your group. But the other component I've noticed is, yes, people in BC Women's Business Network group genuinely care about everyone else. I have been even in masterminds for some other business networking groups, and the way the structure worked was you were paired with someone for accountability in between the masterminds. And I paired up with this one individual. I had paired up with her before. We did our Zoom call. I was saying, hey, this is what I'm working on in my business. This is kind of where I'm stumbling. And after a few minutes of me talking, she was like, so what do you do again? And I'm like, not only are we in the same networking group and mastermind group, we've also been accountability partners before. And I showed up to your event to support your business.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but nothing like that has ever happened in BC Networking Group. And I hope that if it ever were to happen, that, members would approach you and you would handle that accordingly. But thankfully, I don't get that energy from BC Women's Business Network Group. And I find that women in there generally care about other women as human beings, as individuals. And as a result, I have done more business with other entrepreneurs in this group and received more business from this group than any other networking group I've ever been to.
Yeah. It's the when you get to know people and they get to know you, it makes such a difference. And I hear that a lot, where people said, yeah, I've been to another group, for months or years even, and I've never gotten a sale. Like, I've never got someone that's wanted to sit down and, talk about what I sell. And yet in our group, there's a lot of support going on. It's very interesting because it's such an amazing group of women that it's almost, when you look on Facebook and you kind of get that really jaded thought process of humans are just a bunch of, like, they're so mean on Facebook, right? But this group of women, they are, but like you say, and I think that's part of it. When we say right from the get-go, there is no negativity, like, it's zero tolerance. You will not be invited back. You will be deleted out, banned from the group if there's anything, because it just turns into this cancer, and it just it has tentacles, and then the next person goes, oh yeah, that happened to me, and blah blah blah, and so and we have 5 chapter leaders, I believe 5 chapter leaders now, and all of them are so much on the same page about that. It's got to be, people have to be there. They need to be friendly and respectful and help each other. And that's always an amazing thing when you're in a group. And now at our meetings, we don't have anybody competing. So there's only one business per meeting, one woman per business per meeting. So there's not competing per se there, but everybody is so willing to help. Like, oh, I don't know how to do such and such, and then someone else will jump in and just help them with it. Even if it's their business, they'll just like, oh, I'll show you how to do that, right? And it's amazing the amount of what we call mutual learning, for lack of a better word, mutual learning that goes on, where people are so willing to share their knowledge with each other. And even in the group where there are, lots of photographers or lots of mortgage lenders or lots of realtors, people are still willing to help. And it's amazing.
And it's not just with BC Women's Business Network, it's not just the networking group meetings.
No.
You're including other things too. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, so we've started doing events. So one of the things that we really noticed last year was everybody didn't want to do summer. We wanted to take the summer off, so we weren't going to have a meeting in July and August. And so me being me thought, I can't handle being away from these women for 2 months or 3 months. So so we ended up doing some other events, and we did a couple of acrylic paint parties, like the acrylic pour paint parties, which were really fun. And we also went for dinner. And they were so well received, and people loved it, and everybody, we've heard over and over again, we'd love to do more like fun things. So so what we are planning is over this next year, we've decided on doing 4 kind of large group meetings. As we're growing, we're figuring out that doing it like a bowling for 8 different chapters might be a little bit, like people aren't going to come from Coquitlam to Chilliwack to bowl. So so we're going to do 4 large ones. And the first one we did this year was so fun. It was our, we did a Galentine's high tea. And we had 34 ladies it was in an amenities room. We had all the tiered, you know, dainty plates, the 3 tiers, and we had Winsips, who's in Chilliwack. They came and did a tea experience for us, which was so amazing, and we had door prizes. I mean, it was so much fun, and there were quite a few ladies there that have never been to a meeting. They've been maybe in the group for a while, but this was what we're realizing is that these kinds of more casual meetups are a lot easier for a lot of women to do for the first time, to come in and just meet who the people are, and then realize, wow, they're real people, they're so cool, they're so fun, they're really nice, and then they feel more comfortable coming to a meeting and doing that, because then they talk to the people that go and say, oh no, it's not intimidating at all. It's like going out with your girlfriends for dinner. Or for
and it's a
whatever.
great word of mouth too, right? When someone feels a lot of anxiety and anxious, and you know, we're an average of 5 people we spend more time with, right?
Yes.
The people they're connecting with might also struggle with some of the same things.
Yeah.
Right? So then they're like, no, I go to this group, it's a great vibe, everyone's my friend. It really opens more doors for more people to feel comfortable and come in and share their strengths and add to the group.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Essentially what I gathered from that is you allow each chapter leader to have their own autonomy to run the groups as they feel is more suitable to their community. So it's a little bit custom to the needs of the community.
Yeah.
They can add and subtract things, but then there's these core values and non-negotiables that everyone has to follow across the board.
Yeah.
And those are discussed in the group chat or in an in-person training.
We kind of, with our initial kind of, it's kind of like an interview, and we discussed that there, and then there's also an agreement that's signed that kind of outlays, you know, the things that we agree to. I mean, there's parts for me too that I would, you know, for my part, I'm going to support them, right? And so they know that they can count on me to support when they need something, or, you know, providing information. If there's events, you know, providing the information so they can share that with their groups, or if there's something going on in the group that, you know, I will provide that kind of information. So they're not digging around trying to figure out what they have to say. There's, you know, kind of an outline. And but I think that the overall the way that the group is, and the way that the group's always been, with all these women who are so they're so kind and generous and helpful. They're so supportive of each other. They're always encouraging each other. You know, even when I say no negativity comes to the meeting, there's some days where people are like, you know, they come and they're like I can't even like I just had such a terrible day. And everybody there just is very, supportive of that. And,
I love that you said that, because there's positivity,
yeah.
and there's toxic positivity, right? So the group doesn't cross over to that area.
No.
Where there's this constant fake sense of positivity.
Yeah.
You're forced to put a smile on your face. You can't discuss anything negative or challenging in your life, right? I mean, true positivity that is not toxic is about, yes, being positive and encouraging and supportive, but also if someone is going through a negative experience, being able to acknowledge that, validate that, discuss that, and help them through that.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, don't bring that here.
Yeah.
This is a positive space.
That's a good point. Yeah, when I say negativity, what I mean is they don't come to a meeting when they're sharing. They don't put down another woman, so they don't put down their competition. They don't, or another business, another rep. So it's that kind of negativity where there's a lot of times in a lot of businesses where the way that they try to sell is by tearing their competition apart. And that drives me crazy because you've just proved that you're not a trustworthy person when you do that. And that's the last person I'm going to do business with, is somebody, if you don't believe in your product enough to not have to tear down other people, then I don't want it. So yeah, when I say that, I mean everybody comes, just for an example, and we've had instances where maybe someone comes and they've been having a really, really bad day, and then they share that, and then they say, and everybody's kind of rallies around, and then they say, I'm so glad I came because I was in such a funk, and now I feel so much better, and I'm feeling like I can do this again, right? I can get back up on the horse and ride into the sunset now, because of that support from their friends. It's not even, like just a bunch of women. They're friends. They're really, truly friends. And they call each other and check on each other, and, so.
Can you tell me about any obstacles that you faced in growing the BCP Women's Business Network group, or any mistakes that you may have made that you learned from?
Yeah, probably a lot of mistakes. When I first started it, I think maybe now, I wish that I had started it with more of a clear, rather than just starting something and seeing how it worked. If I had more of a clear plan behind it, I was lucky because it did grow, but it just as easily could have completely bombed, and I just would have been out a lot of time. But so I should have had more of a clear plan and a clear vision for it. Yeah, and some of the challenges, I think probably one of my biggest challenges has been comparing myself to other people. Because we talk about that a lot with that having that negative voice in your head, and your kind of your imposter syndrome, and your own self-doubt and everything. And I think there was always such a I held myself back because there was always such a sense of I'm probably not doing this right. Right? And it's not professional enough. It's not, whatever, right? So that was a big challenge for me. And I think as I talk to people and I realize that the way it is what draws people to it, then I think, okay, that's good. But I still feel like, phew, that was lucky. Because I don't see it as something that I've built. I see it as something that was built in spite of me.
See, I don't think any of it is lucky. I feel every bit of it is who you are and how hard you've worked to make it what it is.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, along the way, yes, like things could just as well go downhill as it would. But I think the fact that it didn't is for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I think you should give yourself more credit.
Yeah.
What would you say would be your greatest accomplishment, either in general or within the BC Women's Business Network group? Because I imagine the group in itself is a fairly big accomplishment.
It is, and and I think my other thing that I've really noticed about myself is just the amount of growth that I've done, personal growth, which I think is a big accomplishment, because I think when I think of the way we were raised, and you're a girl, so you'll be a wife and a mother, and I always had this strong entrepreneurial spirit, and it just didn't jive with me. But I guess in my head at the time I thought, okay, well, that's all I'm good for, right? And I've grown so much, learning about my abilities and about, don't even worry about if you know how to do something. Get out there and start doing it, because that's the best way to learn how to do something, is just by doing it. And so finding the confidence in myself to do that, finding the confidence in myself to now go up to people I don't even know and talk, or stand on a stage and talk. Never would have thought that would happen in a million years. I was terrified of that. But now it seems almost second nature, because I've stood up in front of these women so many times, and they have never thrown tomatoes at me.
Yay!
So I think, okay, well, I must be okay. Then they come back, so I must be okay. But I think my growth and then my ability to turn around and share that and focus that belief in yourself onto other people and help them find the belief in themselves as well. So that's partially me, but I think a lot of that came from the group, and that's what I feel is my biggest accomplishment, is when I hear from other women that they just didn't know what they were doing, they felt like such imposters, but now they're with the group and they feel so much more self-confidence, and they feel like, yep, they can do it now. That's huge to me. That's huge. And that's one of the things, like, I just keep trying to let people know, like, if you're struggling, and it's so isolating for women to be in business on their own, and especially if they're in a business that's kind of male dominated, they're really isolated, and you really do second guess yourself over and over and over. And so this group is a perfect place to come, and everybody is like that. Everybody's, just feeds your soul and tells you how amazing you are, and all of that, and just encourages you to keep trying, keep doing it. It'll come, just keep doing it. Don't give up, right? So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. This has been a very great interview. I appreciate you being here. Is there anything else that you feel like you really, really, really have to get out there, or something that I may not have asked you that you want to speak about?
I think just, if I can just speak to the women in business out there right now, and just say that, all of us have a sense of anxiety. We all suffer from social anxiety, and I know there's a lot of women that I'll be chatting with them online, and they'll say to me, I really would love to come to one of your meetings, but I'm not there yet. I just can't get myself out the door yet to do it. Or they buy a registration, a ticket to come, and then they don't show up, and I never hear from them again, so I know it was anxiety, and now they're embarrassed because they didn't come. Or the women who, like, they come in with, like, deer in the headlights kind of thing, because everybody feels kind of a sense of intimidation until you actually come. So I can tell you that this is, whether you have a business or not, whether you are just thinking about starting a business, whether you've been doing a business for 10, 20 years and you don't feel like you've ever been super successful at it, doesn't matter what it is. There's no judgment whatsoever, but this is the most, that's very poor grammar, this is the safest place that you will come and find women that have all, at one point or other, probably been in your same shoes. We're all in a process. We're all in different stages of our journey. Some of us have been, tried many businesses and have not find that right fit yet, or some of us have been working on our business, then COVID hit and we lost it. Some of us were able to pivot, but now, are still trying to figure out how to either pivot back or whether they should, or what's the best thing. Everybody sits there and goes, what can I do to make this better? Nobody knows everything, but collectively we are a mighty force. When you put a whole bunch of women together in a room, we are a mighty, mighty force, and we just invite everyone to join us.
Awesome. And where can the audience find you or connect with you?
So probably the easiest way, we have a website. It's www.bcwomensbusinessnetwork.com. And my email is info@bcwomensbusinessnetwork.com. And so either of those, I'd love to hear from anybody. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you so much. This is great.
Yay!
Yeah.
If you learned something new to help you grow to the next level or experienced an aha moment, share this episode with someone who really needs to hear it too. And if you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as I enjoyed delivering it, please take a moment to subscribe, comment, leave a review to help this podcast grow. Thank you. See you on the next episode and have an empowering day.